Hey, welcome to NX After Dark. I was just having some technical issues starting everything up. I hope it's going through all right now. I have turned my computer up to 100% speed. If it's annoying, like if you can hear the fan spinning, let me know and I'll turn it into power saving mode. But I want the tooling here with NX to be as fast as possible. But if the sound is annoying, let me know and I'll turn it down. So today we're going to start a new open source project. It's related to energy, electricity to be specific. This is a domain I work with on a daily basis at my employer Systemate in Denmark. And I really want people to have more insights into how their electricity affects the environment. So yeah, we'll have a brief look at that in a second, and then we'll start up the repo by using NX. It will be an Angular 12 app, and we're going to be using some exciting technologies like NGRX Component Store and AG Grid Community Edition, I think. Of course, some RxJS and Angular 12, and eventually it might end up being an Angular PWA, Progressive Web App. But for now, today we're just going to get everything started, set up an NX Workspace and a GitHub Actions workflow so that we can have a CI integration workflow. So that'll be the basis, and then we'll add some more to it later. All right, so let's look at what we are going to do. This is about the Danish electricity market. They have some public data available. This one is in Danish, but it should be, as soon as I enter here, everything should be in English again. But this is showing some of the public data visualized here. This is live data. So for example, this is the forecasted CO2 equivalent emissions for the next 8 hours in Denmark. So it's pretty high right now, 142 to 166 grams per kilowatt hour of electricity. And this is, I guess, the share of the biogas in the gas system. We have a national gas system as well. Hey, Serkan, please let me know if the CPU fan speed is, if you can hear it too much on your end, because then I can turn it into power saving mode. Okay, and here we have something exciting as well, the share of wind and solar power. And it's only 21% this last hour because the sun is not shining anymore in Denmark. It's after dark. And the wind is not too heavy today. Actually, it's very, very still. So other energy types this past hour is 79 of the share. But I want to visualize some of this, and I'm going to start with the CO2 emission for the current and the next day, whenever they're available. And to do that, we have, this is called the Energy Data Service. And it's public data for anyone to access through a web API. So I will go to the CO2 emissions. And here they have 3 data sets. They are using something called CCAN, which is a open source technology based on Python and Postgres. And enables you to put, like data sets and publish it in public for everyone to enjoy pretty easily. So that's the technology bagging it. It's a bit special, but we'll get to that. This is what I want to look at, this data set, the CO2 emission prognosis. So that's the forecast of the CO2 equivalent emissions in the Danish power grid. So we can see right now we have data until, including tomorrow and all the way back to, I think, 2017. But yeah, this is the forecast. So I'm interested in today, which is the 18th of May. It will be somewhere here. We have two price areas in Denmark, DK1 and DK2, Western and Eastern Denmark. DK1, where I live, is connected to Germany, and DK2 with Copenhagen is connected to Sweden. We also have connections to other countries, of course. But yeah, this is my price area. So this is the forecasted CO2 emissions, grams per kilowatt hour. And I want to visualize today. No, this is tomorrow, right? But also today, if we can find it here, it should be the 18th of May. Yeah, here we go. So we have data for the current day and the next day. The following day will be published around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, it says so here. Okay, so this is the data we're going to be using. This is a web API everyone can use. So that's the domain. And now we're going to start up an NX workspace. I have my PowerShell here, and I'm going to be using pnpm. So first I'm going to make sure I have pnpm installed global, and then the create NX workspace, the latest version. I already have it. So I think that's the version we're at. Yeah, I don't know actually. We'll see when we install NX. But anyways, I want to create an Angular workspace. So I could do pnpm init NX workspace, and then the name. It will be, let's call it Energy Insights, and it's npm scope, or it's like it'll be add something. This will be what? Yeah, what's a good name? Energy. Yeah, that's a nice scope, right? Nah, let's use the full name. Let's use the full name. Who knows? We might create a public library of some of these components at some point. Who knows? What else are we going to say? We want a preset, and here we could go with Angular, and then we'll have an Angular JSON configuration, but it will be in the NX format, so it's using the schema, workspace schema version 2. So it's a little different from the regular Angular CLI JSON. So I'm actually going to use the blank preset because I want the purest NX way with the workspace JSON, and then I'm going to add Angular myself to this workspace afterwards, so you can see how that process works. I do want the NX Cloud. That's you can ask for free NX Cloud minutes for open source projects, and this is going to be an open source project. And I think there's 5 monthly hours included for free for anyone to use. So that should be a good start. And now, most importantly, maybe I want to use the package manager pnpm. That's a lot faster than npm and yarn. So yeah, this is it. Let's see how it goes. Serkan, it's almost past your bedtime. Okay, it's not called blank, the preset, it's called empty. Always forget that. I'm happy you're spending time with me tonight, Serkan. Also, remember your bedtime, buddy. Okay, so it's starting the workspace. Oh, you have 40 minutes until bedtime. Nice. We can do some damage in 40 minutes, but I'm also trying to explain to everyone like what I'm doing here. Okay, so now I have this access token to NX Cloud. So there will be an account with a kind of a dashboard where I can see how many hours of compute I have saved by using the NX Cloud cache. But yeah, I don't want to look at that right now. So let's open it up. Everything seemed to be, it went well. So let's open up my VS Code here. And let's see some level. Yeah, this should be good. Okay, so I used the, remember I used the empty preset, it's called. So now I get a Workspace JSON file, and it's using version 2 of this schema, the Workspace schema. So it's similar to Angular JSON by Angular CLI, but a little different. A few changes for now, but mostly it's just renamed to Workspace JSON. I don't like these blank lines, and I want to move the project's configuration down here because that's going to change a lot and become very big. So I want to keep the other options up here in the top. What else have we got? We have got the tsconfig base JSON. This is a TypeScript configuration, TypeScript solution style configuration. So every TypeScript configuration in a project will be extending this one. So we could set up common options here for, as we have here for the TS compiler. We could also have common options for the Angular compiler. That might be a good idea. But for now, let's go with the defaults. I have my NX.json file, so it will also list the projects, and we can tag them. And here we see I'm using the NX Cloud Task Runner, so it will be able to cache these tasks or operations, the build, lint, test, and end-to-end tasks. Here's my access token for the NX Cloud. Can track analytics. Sure. And yeah, my default base will not be the master branch. I'm using the main branch. And everything else is fine for now. We saw this npm scope, so my imports will be add energy insights. And this will be configured in tsconfig base JSON by the path mappings will be set up by NX whenever I create a project. Let's see what Serkan is saying. You are optimizing your Vim skills. You're proud that you have not fallen back. You've been doing so for 3 weeks now without switching back to normal mode. Yeah, okay, well, congratulations. Vim is definitely not for me, but I know you enjoy keeping your hands on the keyboard. I don't mind using the mouse, but to each his own. So congratulations on that achievement. You are hopefully beyond the pain point by now. Now it's just rainbows and unicorns from now on. Okay, we have a prettier configuration. Git ignore editor config. Let's see if there's something here I want to change right now. Max line length. I want this to be 80 characters. And I don't remember any other options I want to change right now. Well, maybe prettier. Let's see what other options do we have. Avoid arrow parents, and there's something about the print width. I'll also set that to around 80 characters. And is there anything else? Most of these are this one. I should have a markdown specific one for this one, but I don't remember how to do that right now. So I'll set it to always. I think comments and things like that will be wrapped to 80 characters. Okay. Okay, what else do we have? We have some recommended extensions here. The NX console, prettier for VS Code. That's pretty good. We'll keep that. And I think we have empty apps folder, libs folder, and tools folder with an option and a directory for generators if we want to create project-specific generators. So this is our starting point. I'll just do format command here. I have some extensions that sometimes change the formatting a little bit. So here we're configuring the workspace. Very good. Now, let's see, it's time to create the first project. And what do we want? We want an app, and it's going to be an Angular app. So I'm going to use the NX console to generate. Oh, so now I'm missing the Angular generators because I used the empty preset, so I need to add Angular capabilities. But Circan is asking, what is extension JSON? So this is for Visual Studio Code. If you're using Visual Studio Code and you open this repo, it will show you some recommended extensions and ask whether you want to install all of them with the click of a button. Okay, so now I need the let's see, is there anything else? Nah. No, I just need to add the Angular capabilities. So to do that, let's do pnpm install developer. Oh, that's actually a runtime dependency, funnily enough. So it's called narwhal Angular. Because there's also a runtime library for some NGRX helpers for managing race conditions, for optimistic and pessimistic updates strategies. So there's also a runtime part to the narwhal Angular package. And Jordan is asking, what's so good about pnpm? Well, as you can see, it's lightning fast, both locally and in the CI server. So yeah, it's like much faster than both npm and yarn. So it also has a global cache that works very well. So as you can see here, when I'm installing narwhal Angular and all its dependencies, it only had to download 11 of them and reused 423 packages and added 303 packages to this node modules. Okay, so if you're familiar with the Angular CLI, you would be used to doing ng-add and then the package name. But NX has another. This is actually the same as first installing it and then running ng-generate narwhal Angular ng-add, the name of the schematic. But narwhal or NX has another convention, so that would be NX-generate, the name of the package, and the name of the generator. So schematics are called generators with NX. And the convention here is it's called init instead of, for initialize, instead of ng-add. So let's try to do that. And pnpm is doing its thing. And then we'll have a look to what has changed. So Circan, now we actually see, because we made it into an Angular repo, it installed, or it recommends now to install this jest extension. So now we'll actually touch this recommended extensions. And what else did it do? It added some defaults for Angular generators. And let's see, it added a post-install hook for the Angular compatibility compiler. It added all of these Angular packages. We're at version 12 now. And we added narwhal Angular. It added some Angular dependencies for tooling. It added Cypress, Jest. Yeah, that's it. And then it added configuration files a big one apparently, or my machine is having troubles right now. No, a very small one. Yeah, so Narwhal has created this jest preset for Angular as well. Or yeah, I guess it's not only Angular. So this is what we get from installing the Narwhal Angular package and then running nx generate Narwhal Angular init. So let's see here. Add Angular capability. And I think there's, yeah, I'll just commit this and then I'll make a few changes. I was thinking about, let's see, in the workspace configuration. Oh, the default collection is now Narwhal Angular. So if I say nx generate and then the name of a generator, it will first look into this package for resolving that. For example, nx generate library, it will be an Angular library then. And now I want to move down this project's property again because it's going to be big and change a lot. And let's look into these defaults, whether they make sense. First, I'm sorting by name. Unit test runner jest, linter ESLint, end-to-end test runner Cypress. Okay. Libraries, linter ESLint, unit test runner jest. That's fine. And I don't understand why they add this one because, as far as I know, there's no Narwhal Angular component. Let's just verify that. Collection. There's init generator, the application generator for Angular, libraries, Karma, Karma project, NGRX, downgrade module, upgrade module, storybook configuration, migrations, stories for storybook, component Cypress spec, nice. Component story, very nice. Move an Angular project, add linting, convert TSLint to ESLint, very nice. Yeah, but there's no Angular component generator for Narwhal, so I don't know why they add this one. This should actually be a schematics Angular component instead. So we could, for example, say display block true. What else? Change detection on push. Yeah. I don't remember the other options right now. We'll set them later. But definitely for applications, we want, I mean, now Angular application projects are strict by default, but let's just add it here anyways, in case NX didn't take that into account yet. And for libraries, let's do the same. Like so. Oh, and some other people joining. Hey, Brandon, nice to see you. Thank you for joining. And Serkan is asking, should I migrate my Angular JSON to Workspace JSON? No, not if, I mean, it supports other projects than just Angular projects. There's not really any difference as far as I know, except for the name. It's either Angular JSON or Workspace JSON because the schemas are the same. I mean, you should be on version 2. Make sure you're at version 2. And then the kind of the differences. Well, there's not a package manager configuration for the CLI because NX will pick that up on its own. For example, here it will see I have an pnpm log file, so it will assume that I'm using pnpm as my package manager. The generators are called generators instead of schematics, and when we build a project, we'll see that instead of having an architect property, it will have a targets property instead. And builders are called executors. So those are the few differences. But whether you should rename or migrate Angular JSON to Workspace JSON doesn't matter. NX will pick up whether it's called Angular JSON or Workspace JSON. I had a few issues at some point early on in NX 11 where some Angular and some NX generators were not happy that it was called Angular JSON, or sorry, Workspace JSON, and they might not have been too happy either that it was version 2. But those issues were solved. I submitted issues with Narwhal and they fixed it. But there might still be a few Angular schematics that don't really take, are not managed properly by NX, or rather it's the schematics using some non-public APIs from Angular schematics, and sometimes that makes some errors. NX is doing a lot to try to patch it, but sometimes there will be issues. So Angular JSON might be a better choice for Angular heavy workspaces because there's a higher chance it might work with your Angular schematics. And Jordan, I believe it just wraps the Angular one. Oh, that was for Serkan's question about Workspace JSON. Well, yeah, it's similar to the original Angular JSON schema version 1. In version 2, it has these few differences. It's called generators, it's called executors, it's called targets instead of architects. And your Angular JSON is version 1. Yeah, okay. I mean, NX works with the Angular JSON schema, workspace schema version 1 as well, but I don't know. At some point, there might be some, it might require you to go on version 2. I'm not sure. I don't think there's any reason right now, but at some point, if you're using NX, you should probably migrate to version 2. Okay, so I added some defaults here to the workspace JSON. And did we change something in here? No. I think that should be good for now. Yeah. For generators defaults. So now we should be able to use NX console to find all the Angular generators. So let's look for an application first. This one will be called the Energy Insights app. And probably going to be using SAS. Oh yeah. So now, yeah, now I see there might be a few more defaults that I want to include to options for generators. So let's look into that. I couldn't remember the name of all of them, but now I see them, some of them here. So this is for the application. I actually want to use inline style. So that should be true. I actually also want to use inline template. True. And style is sassy CSS. And prefix, okay, prefix is let's see, energy. Routing. Do we want a routing module? No, we're going to use shell modules instead. Skip tests. Yeah, I actually don't want them to generate some tests that are not doing anything. I'll be creating those myself. So I'll say skip test. Yes, true. Strict, we have that here. Yeah. Tags. Yes, you can set some default tags. How is that? So this will be type app. Yeah, I guess that's it for now. Yeah, type app. Okay, and view encapsulation. Let's see. View encapsulation. We want to go radical. Yeah, the problem here is, for example, if we were going to use Angular material, it has a lot of global styles. So that would be an issue, or we would have to include those styles to every, like if we were using the shadow DOM, we could also use the non-view encapsulation. And that might actually be be nice, because it will result in a smaller bundle size. So let's do that. Now yeah, save those defaults, or actually just amend it to the last commit. Now we'll generate this Angular application, and we can see some of my defaults here as CSS, inline style, inline template, energy prefix, all of that goodness is here. Yeah. So this will make it easier for me to generate my projects. Let's call it Energy Insights app. I'm not sharing my screen. Why haven't you told me? Wow. Sorry for that. Sorry for that. Let me just show what I did. Here we go. So this is what I did. I added some defaults for the Angular application generator. And now when I'm using the NX console to generate an application, I can see that these defaults are in place. So now I'll just call it the Energy Insights app, and every other option is how I want it. Let's go with that. It's generating a lot of code, as you can see. So here we're getting an end-to-end testing project, the application project. This is a Cypress end-to-end testing project. Angular application project with your well-known Angular app scaffolded. In NX, we can actually extract a lot of this, what we see here, to libraries, Workspace libraries, and we're going to do that at some point, but not today. For now, this should be good. Let's see that we have generated the Energy Insights app. Wonder what it changed in package.json. Oh, it added the Angular ESLint plugins, the Narwhal linter, TypeScript ESLint plugins, ESLint. Okay, that's good. Okay, so this just reminded me of something. Let's see if there's anything here. So I would like for NX to manage the packages that it's able to manage, so all the Angular packages, but I would also like to see patch versions updated without me having to specify it specifically. So let's use the tilde operator here for the Angular packages, and these ones as well. narwhal CLI. I also want the narwhal packages to be using patch versions if possible. Newer patch versions, but not newer minor or major versions. Narwhal cloud is always on the latest. That's fine. Just, yeah, you can also use the latest patch. Same for this one. And this one. Okay. Now let's run pnpm install. And let's see if something was updated or if it's the same. Nothing was changed, apparently. Okay. Or maybe, yeah, a few dependencies, it seems. Okay, that's all right. Allow your patch versions and lock the dependencies. Okay, so we have our Angular app, and now let's start actually by creating a GitHub Actions workflow. But first, I should create a repo for, I should upload it to my GitHub profile. So let me just here create a new one. It's called Energy Insights. Angular web app for insights from the Danish energy markets. Okay. Create this one, and then I get the command here to push it. Like so. And do we have it now? We do. Okay. So now we can set up our GitHub Actions workflow. And wonder if we can create that in a PR. Yeah, let's do that. So we'll branch out and we'll say CI at GitHub workflow. So you might have noticed that it says actions, but that's a bit funny because GitHub Actions is both the kind of the reusable logic you can call in a step of a GitHub workflow. But well, what you'll see running here is GitHub workflows, but they also call that GitHub Actions, and that's a bit confusing in my opinion. So I prefer to call them GitHub Actions for the actual reusable packages that you can find here on the GitHub Marketplace. And then GitHub Workflows for the things that will actually be running inside of the Actions tab. So to create, now we have a branch. I'll push this branch, and I'll start by creating at the root level. I'll create a new folder called .github. I'll add a subfolder called workflows, and then add one called, let's say, ci.yml for YAML. And now it's interesting to see if I can remember all of this. Let's first give it a name. Energy Insights CI. And then let's see. What do we need? Some environment variables. Yeah, we're going to need some to connect the NX Cloud at some point, but I can't remember that right now, so let's do that later. We're going to need some jobs to start with a job. And I think it has to runs, what is it called, like runs on? Let's use the latest Ubuntu. And then steps. I might be making a few mistakes here. We'll figure that out at some point. There's not an extension to verify the correctness of this one, but as soon as you upload it, it should be, or you push it, it should start to run if it's correct. So steps. Okay. First, you have to, let's see. Some CI providers, you have to check out the code yourself, and I think GitHub CI or GitHub Actions is one of those cases where you have to check out the code explicitly yourself. So that would probably be called. So let's say we're uses and then actions checkout. And what's the version name then? Let's try to look into that. So with GitHub Actions, you can actually go and find the source code for all the actions here. So I'm going to github.com/actions, and now I can find all their actions here from GitHub. And I'll find the one called checkout. And now I'll look for tags. So we can see the latest major version is v2. So if we use the tag v2, we'll get whatever is the newest one, 2.x. So 2.3.4 right now. And we might also have some documentation here. Yeah, so these are all the options. And the fetch depth here is 1. So that means it will only fetch the latest commits, which should be good in most cases. But if we want to run the NX affected commands, we actually need fetch depth 0 instead to be able to compare. We also need to load like the branch we're comparing to, the main branch, for example. But we'll set up the NX specific part later in another episode. For now, we just need to call uses actions checkout v2. Like so. So now we have the source code inside of this GitHub CI runner. So what can we do then? Well, now we need Node.js. Uses. There's an action called setup node. And which version should that be using? Let's try to find GitHub Actions again and look for node. Setup node. And which tag does it have? It's a version 2. And then we'll add some parameters. So we say width. And there's a parameter called node version. And we're using Angular 12, so we can actually use node version 14.x. Okay. So now we have a CI worker with our source code with Node.js 14. What else do we need? Well, we need the npm, because that's what I want to use locally and in the CI. So it will be a run step. What we see up here is a GitHub action step, same here because it says uses. This one will be a run step, so that will just be a shell command, terminal command. And let's see here, we have our Arcadio, I think it's Arcadio, Quintero, hello, nice to see you. Setting up an Angular workspace using NX. And right now I'm creating the GitHub Actions workflow for that, a basic one. I have generated just one Angular app here. I have set up the NX workspace with my preferences. For example, some defaults for some of the Angular generators here. So now I'm using PNPM locally, and I also want to use that in CI because it's significantly faster than Yarn and NPM. So to do that, what I do have, now that I've installed Node, I do have both Yarn and NPM. So I could do Yarn global add PNPM. But I think there is an issue with GitHub Actions, our runner here, this agent that will be running the build job. It's not aware of the global path of Yarn global packages. So I'll just do instead npm install global PNPM, because it is aware of the global npm installs. And it's just PNPM and a few dependencies maybe, so it's pretty fast, a few seconds to install it, and that's a good trade-off because it saves us many seconds to install our dependencies. So now we'll actually install dependencies. Now we'll do PNPM install. And then finally, now we're ready to do the actual step here. So what is the purpose of this job? For now, it's just a build. So we'll see that the build goes well. So this will be build Angular app. So that will be a run step. And it will be C. So we don't have NX globally installed here in this runner, but we do have, there's an npx package, which will try to execute the command with local dependencies from node modules. And if that's unavailable, it will temporarily install a global package. There's the same one for PNPM, and it's called PNPX. That will also look into the local node modules folder first, then the global cache, and then go to npm registry if it can't find it. So we'll do PNPX, NX, and then build. And I guess now, let's see if we have a default project in place. We have it here. Just want to move it up above the project's property because it's going to stay the same mostly. I want the project's property to be in the bottom because that's growing a lot, and I don't want to overlook any other options down here. So the default project is this application project. So if I just do NX build, it will assume that that's my project. But there is another way here that I actually prefer, and that is reusing these scripts from the package.json. So build is also the same, NX build, and it will use the local dependencies. So yeah, let's use that one instead. So that will be PNPM, and then we can say the name of the script. So that would be build. So this is similar. If you're using Yarn, you would say Yarn build. If you were using NPM, you would say NPM run build. And PNPM also supports the run one. And in some cases, you need to do PNPM run. One thing to notice here is if you want to add an additional parameters here, like configuration CI, you would have to do this first, these two dashes, similar to if you're doing an npm run command. Whereas if you're using Yarn, you don't need this. But for now, we just need to call the build script from our package.json file. And Serkan is going to sleep. Nice of you to join, and have a good night's sleep. I'll talk to you later this week. So build, okay, this should actually, let's verify that this first step works, or if I messed up with some of the syntax or whatever. So split this into two commits. This one is organize workspace configuration, and the other one is for CI add build step, or build job, is it? And I'll push this. Oh, and now I'm remembering what I forgot. So I need to tell it under which circumstances should this GitHub workflow run. So it's kind of what's the trigger, and I think it's called on. And then I can say on push, and on push to branches main. So whenever a commit is pushed to the main branch, and that would happen after a PR is merged, this GitHub CI workflow would run. But we also want it to run on pull requests. So I think this is called the pull request event. And this will be for any branches, not just the main branch. Or not just targeting the main branch specifically. And there's a third event here. I might be able to just remove this one then. Let's leave it here. There's a third event I want to trigger here, and that's called the workflow dispatch. And I want that also to be able to run on any branches. So I won't list anyone. And the workflow dispatch is manual. This is when you want to manually run your GitHub workflow. There will be a button that you can click on github.com. So that's what the workflow dispatch is. Pretty sure this is the event name, but we'll see. So yeah, let's amend this commit because I've forgot this. And let's force push. And let's see if we're lucky that it will now be running here in the actions of my repo. Okay, so tried 2 minutes ago and had a failure. And will it be triggered again now? Let's see. Wait, what's the failure? Let's see what it says. No event triggers defined in on. Right. That's what I tried to do now. And it is pushed now. So, but it's not running. And yeah, I've seen this sometimes, that it won't pick it up before I actually merge it, which is kind of strange. But I don't know. Let's try to do another unrelated commit and see if that triggers it. Let's go to the README file and say, I don't want all of this boilerplate. Well, can keep the NX Cloud. Energy Insights. Angular app. Visualizing insights for the Danish energy markets. Update the README and see if this triggers our workflow. Hey, Nacho. Nice of you to join. I'm starting a new open source project for Danish energy data. And I'm using NX and Angular, of course. So I'm setting up an Angular 12 project. And right now I'm doing the GitHub CI workflow. And I'm trying to see if I remembered everything. And now I want the workflow to be triggered. It's not triggering. It's a bit strange because it failed this one time where it said no events to trigger it. But now that I defined the events, it's not triggering. I think it's because I need to merge this first pull request for it to pick up. this workflow. Maybe I just need to, oh, you know what? I need to create the pull request because that's one of the triggers. It will only trigger when I push to main. This is not the main branch. Or if I create the pull request, and that's what I'm doing now. Yeah, so my bad. It might be just this. Add CI workflow. Let's see. And if it detects it, it should show up here in checks. Checks is GitHub Actions, another GitHub apps. And now it's actually showing here that something is running. Yeah, now we can see it. We can go to the details page here and see that we have our build job. And we can also see here the overview of all our jobs in this CI workflow. And it's just a build job right now. Let's go into that and see. It checked out the source code. It set up Node.js 14, installed pnpm, then used pnpm install, but something failed here. What failed? Some Cypress. You must install. Cannot find any observable implementation or global observable. You must install polyfill or call require. What? Cypress? What are you doing to me? Stupid Cypress. Well, I don't even need Cypress. I don't even need Cypress. Let's see. End-to-end test runner, none. Okay, we'll go none, and we'll remove everything Cypress because damn you, Cypress, for messing up my CI workflow. End-to-end test runner, none. Package JSON. Everything here called Cypress. Going bye-bye. And our targets. End-to-end target for our application project. Goodbye. Oh, this is an end-to-end project, so I should remove the whole project. Okay. Remove. And then its name, its project name, Energy Insights App end-to-end. Should be able to do that. Yep. Okay. That project is now gone. Do we have anything here called Cypress? No. Do we have anything mentioning Cypress? No, only the pnpm log file, and I'll get rid of that as well now. Pnpm install should see it removing Cypress. Goodbye. Yeah. I might try out something fun like WebDriver IO or maybe CodeCept at some point. Okay, so we'll push again, and this should trigger the workflow. Let's see. So we can either, we can go into the pull request and see that it started running again, or it's queued right now. So we can jump from here, or we could go to the Actions tab of this repo and see now we have the Energy Insights CI workflow. And it has been running 3 times. And let's see what's going to happen. There's one thing we haven't done here that could also speed it up, and that is caching the dependencies. But as we can see here, pnpm only uses 16 seconds to install all the Angular and NX dependencies without any cache, because this is a fresh image, so there's no cache involved here. That's pretty good for no cache, and it took 1 second to install PNPM, so very good trade-off. Okay, so now, yeah, it succeeded. It ran everything and could remove all of this output if we wanted to. I won't do that right now until in the interest of time. But our main job here, our main step of the build job, build the Angular app. And we can see stupid Angular compatibility compiler here running. And we have the different bundles. It's a production build because now Angular is running. When you do ng build, it will be, or NX build here, it will be a production build by default. This is new in Angular 12. We can see that here for the project. Just look into the build target, and we see this is one of the differences here in Workspace schema version 2 that is called executor instead of builder. So we're using Angular's own builder here, the build Angular package, the browser builder / executor. And what else? Yeah, we can see, well, wait. Oh, here, default configuration production. Is this something new? I think this is something new because before it was kind of, it was a little, yeah, it was a little strange or a little difficult because your default configuration basically needed to be in the options, and then you had to roll back any defaults you wouldn't want for the configurations, which would make it pretty hard to split production from development. So this is essentially, let's see, yeah, these are the common options, right? And then there's the production configuration where it's set some build budgets for Angular CLI. So it replaces the environment file with the production one. It hashes all the output bundles. And then we have here the development configuration. Turns off the build optimizer, any optimizations, turns on the vendor chunk, doesn't extract licenses, it adds source maps and names to chunks. And then we have, this is, I'm pretty sure this is new default configuration. Okay, that's a nice solution. It's a pretty nice solution. Yeah. Good work, Angular team. Okay, so what we see here is a production build. We can also see that from, they are hashed. It was one of the production configurations. So that succeeded, and now we even see NX Cloud here, but I didn't set it up properly yet, so we'll do that some other time. But basically, if it didn't, it was a cache miss. So next time we are running this workflow, it should be able to retrieve the cached build artifact and then save us 30 seconds. So yeah, let's see. We have spent an hour now. We have the CI workflow in place. We have the first empty app. And now is the question, do we want more steps here? Yeah, let's do a test step as well. We'll copy everything from here. And we'll do PNPM test instead. Call it the job test. Yeah. And then let's go into our package.json, look at our test script. and see if there is anything here we want to add. Yeah, actually, we wanted to do parallel. I think we can add it like so. I don't think we need to use the run many command. No, this should be good. We could try it out locally. PNPM test. See how fast it is on Windows. Wow, super fast. But it didn't have any tests. So now I actually cached this test run. So now it should actually be using the NX cache inside of the CI. Because that is set up. Because we're using the same key here in my NX task runner, using the same access token in the CI and locally, so it should be able to use the same cache. What I don't have set up is you can set up some environment variables for grouping your, and now I'm not sharing my screen again. Sorry for that. What was I looking at before? I was looking at, I copied in this test step. I just changed PNPM build to PNPM test and the name test project. Then I was looking into, we're using the same access token both locally and in the CI. So did we see the NX Cloud thingy before? Yeah, here, right? So here, yeah, now we see it actually cached the test target that I just ran locally. So yeah, the CI might be able to use that, but I'm not 100% sure, because you need to set up something for grouping by branch, and yeah, I don't remember. Oh, I have to do something here. We'll do that some other time. Let's see. So now we have a test step, or a test job rather. So let's see that in action. Pushing to GitHub. And let's try to find it here. Come on. Here we go. So now we can see here in the overview, the trigger is pull request. We have the build step, and we have the test step. And these are now running in parallel in GitHub Actions. So yeah, which means that rather than first building and then testing, or the other way around, we will finish faster. But we need to have access to 2 CI runners. Now we saw the test job actually finished first because there is no tests. But GitHub is free. GitHub Actions and Workflows is free for open source projects. So I have unlimited capabilities here, basically. We have an open source project where we are running 30 jobs in parallel. That is really, really nice. Let's see, Jordan, I'm a lifesaver. Oh, well, thank you. Thanks for showing PNPM. Yeah, okay. Solved and now a storybook dependency issue with React. Okay. Well, and you say you want to tell your team to move to it. Okay, let me see. There's some people saying they have had issues with PNPM and NX. I don't think it's specific to NX. That would be a little strange. But one thing to be aware of is that PNPM, there's a thing about if you have pure dependencies, I think it will tell you if you don't have them installed or something, like it will error or something like that. There's something where Yarn and npm doesn't force you to include this dependency, or if it's something about resolving a version. There's something specific here where pnpm forces you to do that, but that's in the interest of you not forgetting to install something that's required. I don't remember the specifics, but there's something special where pnpm is different from the others because it forces you to make a decision, basically. One other thing I noticed is that I'm using Azure pipelines at work and NX. And when I tried to use pnpm, I was having trouble caching the pnpm store, as it's called, the global pnpm cache. It didn't work, maybe because we were on a Windows Server image in the Azure pipelines. But you know what? Maybe even let's see here. In this job, pnpm is running without any cache, and it's installing dependencies in 20 seconds. That's really fast. Like, that's the amount of time it usually takes to install the cache of npm or yarn. So it might be fast enough without a cache, because I know at work we have a really slow Azure Pipelines runner, and it's taking sometimes 15 minutes to install npm dependencies. So maybe I should give pnpm another go, but without the cache, because it's fast enough even without the cache, as we can see here. So testing went well. Let's see if it used the NX Cloud Cache. It did. So the run I had locally was restored from the NX Cloud Cache when running in CI. It also works the other way around. And that is nice if some colleague is working on a branch and I go into that branch and it has already been run on CI. So now I will get the cached result of testing the different projects and building them and so on. So I don't have to spend all the time running that on my local machine. So that is pretty good. That's one of the nice additions by NX compared to the Angular CLI. Okay, we have, let's see, NX After Dark. Yeah, it's really dark now. It's 11 p.m. in Denmark. Okay, we have a build job. We have a test job. What else do we need? How about a lint job? And we removed the end-to-end job because of Cypress dependency mismanagement. Okay, so here's our main command. We'll run pnpm lint. And this is another opportunity to, say, run linting in parallel across the projects. So if you have many projects, they can run in parallel depending on how many cores you have on your machine. And locally, you usually have multiple cores. Also in CI, they also have multiple cores. So it's usually, even if they only have 2 cores or so, or maybe 4, it's still good to run things in parallel. So CI at, let's see, at the lint job. And I want to remove the end-to-end command here. I won't be using end-to-end tests. And let's just try to run linting, the linting task here locally. Linting the app. Okay. And now I can find it in, not doing that, in NX Cloud. So NX has cached this NX lint. So we'll probably, when we run it in GitHub, we'll see a remote cache hit. And maybe we were even able to see that from before on the test job, because we saw it in the log. So let's see if I can figure this out. Runs. Show all runs. Here they are. Okay. Yeah, so NX test parallel. This was my local, and this is the one in CI where it had a remote cache hit. And even in, I can see here in the cache stats, you can see 30 seconds I have saved in compute time on the CI server. Very nice. Okay, I definitely need to set up these NX environment variables at some point so that I can claim this workspace. I don't remember right now how to do it, so it won't be right. It won't be today. Okay, we have the lint job. Let's push that, see it run on GitHub Actions workflows. So we can go into the pull request. And we can see that, yeah, now it will run the 3 jobs, build, lint, and test. We can go to the details for this job. And we can see they are all running here in parallel. You can also see it in the overview of this workflow. It was triggered by a pull request. It's running these 3 jobs. And now there might be another thing here. No, maybe first when it's merged, we get this ability to run it manually. Was because of this trigger, the workflow dispatch. I think that's what it's called. That will allow us to run it manually from github.com. But maybe first after we have merged this workflow. Okay, let's see. 2 of them are done. The build job is the slowest one. Thank you, Angular compatibility compiler. And now it's done as well. Okay, so linting looks like, oh, I forgot to change the name. Linting. Lint, workspace, and projects. Projects. Well, let's see. Amend, yeah, amend that. Push, force push. But let's see the result of this. All files passed linting. It was restored from the NX Cloud cache. Nice. So now we'll just wait for it to run one more time after I force push this one. So it should, maybe when I refresh, it will have noticed that it needs to run again. Oh, it is. Oh no, I made it part of the remove end-to-end scripts. That was not on purpose. Whatever. Let's review here the files we have changed. We have created this workflow with 3 jobs. Change the readme to trigger a workflow run. And let's see, we removed everything about Cypress because there was some dependency issue on the CI server for some reason. And I don't really need end-to-end tests, especially not from Cypress right now. So we removed the end-to-end project. We changed the test and lint scripts to run in parallel. We removed the end-to-end scripts, all the Cypress dependencies, and removed end-to-end test runner from generated apps. Yeah, looks good. Let's see if it has passed the checks. Let's have another look though. 2 minutes ago, okay. So everything went well. Did I change the name now? Yeah, lint workspaces and projects. And it restored the cache here from NXCloud. Good, so I'm ready to merge this one. Add CI workflow. Remove Cypress and into end testing project. So now we're ready to merge. Let's do a squash merge. Okay. So now we've merged it. So now we should see it run again. So if we go into the actions, it is now triggered by push. That's only, the push is only triggered on the main branch. As we see here, it's filtered to only trigger on the main branch. So that will be after merging a pull request, as we have done now. So if I go to my main branch now, locally, and pull, should see new commit. And I have this little PowerShell script to delete the branch locally that was already merged. So now that is gone as well. So I only have the main branch. Pretty good. So that is actually it for today. We created an Angular a CI workflow for our Angular workspace with NX, and we used GitHub Actions. We have a build job, we have a lint job, and we have a test job. For every one of those, we are checking out the source code from the repo into the GitHub Actions runner. Then we're installing Node.js 14 because that's the latest supported by Angular 12 and hopefully NX 12 as well. Then we're installing PNPM because it's faster than Yarn and NPM. And now we're running PNPM install to install dependencies, and then the main step, which is the test script, the lint script, or the build script from our package JSON here. These three. So we're actually running tests in parallel and linting in parallel as well. Other than that, we generated this Angular app. We didn't change anything yet. We set up some defaults for, let's see, some of the generators we were using. We changed the default base branch, the comparison branch for NX affected, and for the format command as well. Changed that to the main branch. We added this one project here with a type app tag. And yeah, removed Cypress. Made a few modifications here to edit the config. Let's see if it added just for us here. Yeah, it added the first project. Okay, So everything is good in the workspace, and now we have a successful CI run for our merged. So if we go to actions here, we can see that the last one has passed on the main branch. So now everything is merged and running successfully, and we only have one branch here. Nice. So that was all for today. I can show you again what we're trying to build here. That's not the right one. It says we will be, I might have another browser open here. We will be visualizing this data set, this CO2 equivalent emission on the Danish electricity market, as we can see the numbers here. And they had on the main page here of the energy data service, they also had it visualized here for the next 8 hours. So this is grams of CO2 equivalent emissions per kilowatt hour produced of electricity. So I want to visualize the same thing, but for all the available data in this forecast, which is the current day and the next day when it's later than 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Denmark. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for joining NX After Dark. I'll see you some other time, and then we'll start to add some of the actual projects to this application. And we're going to need a bunch of them. We'll be using NGX Component Store. I'll be using AG Grid for the first time. And what else? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Those are definitely the ones that we'll be using, and Angular and NX, of course. So thank you for joining. You have a very nice day or evening or week or whatever. See you some other time. Bye.